See where I did it?
Just checking. No.
The hospital.
There we go.
There we go. Hey!
Yes, there we are. All right. You're awake now. First of all, I mean, I feel like, yes, I need to just kind of echo some of the thank yous. And I don't want to steal anybody's stories or steal their thunder, but it really was just a phenomenal event. And can I just say, like, as a experienced youth worker who has gone to many youth conventions and youth camps, that this one really was phenomenal. I remember talking with one of the other pastors, and he said that, you know, today was the best youth convention day he had ever experienced. And I remember thinking that, and then we went the next day going, no, this day is better than yesterday. And thank you very much, not only for investing in the young people, but also investing in me, and just trusting that, you know, we were worth bringing all this way and giving us this opportunity. And so I don't want to steal the students' stories, and so I'm just going to invite everybody to just come on up and well, here we go. All right, there we go. And I'm just going to let them talk, and then Dane, if you don't mind, because you came as well, so I want you to kind of give your perspective. One of the things that I recognize, and this will be my last story, then I'll hand off the mic, I promise. But one of the things that I recognized was that there was countless youth groups that were represented there. Just numerous districts. But there was actually very few senior pastors that were there. And I thought, to me, it spoke volumes that our senior pastor was willing to take time and to travel with the teens and to be there for that experience. And I just wanted to say, and you guys already know this, but you are very blessed to have a pastor who not only believes in the students, but believes in the church and is willing to sacrifice. And I was just really proud just to have him there and just to be investing in the lives of the teens. And so, anyway, that was... We're going to start. All right, I'll let you talk and then you can... Yes. They said that you're going to go first.
This is for the youth group. It's been a long time since I've been to a youth convention like this. The very first one I
Long time since you've been to a youth convention.
It's been. And the very first one that I went to was the one where God called me to ministry. So it's a very special place to go back to. And you guys had it made, man. We were driving in a yellow bus all the way across the country to Urbana, Illinois from Portland, Oregon in a snowstorm. It was crazy, but well worth our time. It was good. I'm going to let these guys share. You guys, an amazing transformation. For me, God spoke to me in a very special way, but I really want to hear from you guys.
Nice try.
We all know Kendall's going to.
Let me ask, they don't know the question. I prepped all the teens and I asked them, here's a question that I want them to answer. And the question, we have two microphones. The question I want them all to answer is, what did God say to you at Fall of 2015? And how did God say that? Like, how did he speak to you? So, Cameron, I'll let you answer that question first.
Is this on you? Oh.
Yeah.
My name's Cameron. Okay. So what God said to me was that he wants me to go and be what the speaker called a fisherman, but really it's just someone that goes and makes disciples. And he talked to me through a complete stranger. Pretty sure his name was Mike on the plane. And Mike's my new friend.
So there was a speaker on the first night, and I believe her name was Nicole Reyes, and she talked about everybody having a gift. And then the speaker on the very last night, Robert Madu, he reiterated this again. And what God was trying to tell me was that everybody has a gift, and no matter how you use it, you can reach people for God.
What God told me, I don't feel that He necessarily said anything specific, but He had called out to me, and I felt it for a brief moment during the final speaker,
Robert Madu.
Madu. Cool name. It was just, it's just a brief moment, just really calming, relaxing moment of God calling to me. I still, at this moment, have no idea exactly what He said. I was totally out of tune, but I hope to pursue that and find out what He wanted me to do.
And Brady, before you talk, I just wanted to say, just especially for Kendall and Spencer, they're the guys that were my roommates.
Dun, dun, dun.
Which was a good thing. Sorry. No, but I wanted to say that these guys especially, I felt like they really went out of their way to make me feel welcome. And it was kind of a weird thing that I don't know that well, at least I didn't really catch on at first, but how comfortable it was. If you think about it, it's kind of weird going, oh, you're a new youth pastor. You're taking us halfway across the country. Sure. But they did it. I tell them to do something and they would. It was most of the time. But I would say, especially for Kendall and Spencer, I really appreciated the late night conversations that we had, and just the time travel, just how they were willing to make me feel welcome and a part of the group. So I wanted to say that to those guys. Thank you. So Brandon, go.
Can I go now?
Yes. Yeah.
So for me, before I came, I was just not sure how God wanted me to serve Him. And I thought, the only way was maybe become a pastor or something like that, and I knew that wasn't really my calling. But all the speakers were saying everybody has their own calling. And I realized that I'm called to go on missions trips, and I think that would be a good way for me to serve Him and go out there and help others, and yeah.
Okay, so for me, I went to the last follow, and I felt a calling when I was there, but then I came back and I was like, I can't do this. I can't talk in front of people. I absolutely hate it. I don't like it. And then this year, when I was there was Nicole Reyes, but she was saying that we can't be selfish, and I realized in that moment, and when we were doing worship one night, I had my hands in the air, my eyes were closed, and I was just focused on the words, and I felt this on my shoulder, and I was freaking out for a minute, because I look over at Brandy, and she had her hands in the air, and I look over at Haven, and she had her hands on the chair, and I look behind me, and everyone was just sitting down, and I was like, okay, who the heck touched me? And I was freaking out for a second, and then I realized I felt like that was my slap in the face, come on, Kalia, you're being selfish. You need to, stop being so scared of talking in front of people, because, I've realized in that moment that my calling is to bring other people to Jesus, and I need to, stop being so selfish about my fears, because it's not about me. Well, I know what I'm gonna say. Okay, I got this. Well, the first night, most of us were tired and stuff like that, but I had I've been having lots of stuff happen at home, which has been affecting me a lot. But once we started worship, it everything just disappeared in my mind,
And I felt like now I have a calling to go to worship because I love how how it brings everybody together and makes everybody forget about everything at that moment, and you're just there praising him.
Good.
So there was one speaker in particular at Follow whose words really resonated with me. She talked about seizing the opportunities that God gives us and taking a stand to fearlessly live out the life and the purpose that he's called us to. And at one point, while she was talking, she asked the question, "What are you waiting for?" And that really stuck in my head, and God used that question with all the other words spoken and songs sung and the scriptures read to bring me to this realization that if this incredible God who is so holy and so worthy, who created the universe and performed miracles, is calling me to follow him and has a purpose for my life and a plan, what am I waiting for? And I have nothing to fear, I have nothing to lose. So, yeah.
So, what I really think God said to me was around the borderlines of restart. I hate speaking.
Let me ask you a question then. Let's see if that will work. You went forward a couple of times, and clearly God was speaking to you at Follow, and obviously you were responding. What were some of the things that you felt, or some of the areas where you felt like God was challenging you? Do you remember some of the words maybe that some of the speakers that really kind of resonated with you, or kind of some of the themes?
There was a breakout session. I guess his name was Mark, and his name was Mark, and he was talking about how you can do stuff now, and you don't have to wait. You don't have to go to school and do this stuff to get a ministry degree or do all this stuff. Which, if you know me, you know I don't like school. I'm very impatient. So, I feel like it's all the ministry, but in order to become a successful minister, it really looks like you need to go into school, get that degree, and do that while doing math and English. And his topic was, one of the things he talked about was who you are in the pastor is who you will be in the palace. And that kind of spoke to me in a way, as in, to suffer through school will make it a lot better when you're finally there.
Mm-hmm.
As bad as that sounds, it's true. So, it's not taking
Okay. So there was one thing that I forgot. Okay, so one of the speakers, it's a long story, but they were standing in line, and him and his son were playing this game, and it was like rock, paper, scissors, but they were doing like anything that comes to your head. And it was his dad and the son, and the dad was getting mad that he wasn't winning, because he's not that kind of dad that just lets his kid win. But, so the kid was like, so he made that very clear, but when they did it, they went rock, paper, scissors, and then the kid was like, Jesus! And then, like, the dad asked the kid, like, why did you say Jesus? And the kid, he's 7 years old, and he said, because Jesus is bigger than anything. And so now that's like my motto for life, because like Jesus is bigger than anything. So Jesus is bigger than my fear of speaking in front of people. Jesus is bigger than all of your fears. If you feel a calling, Jesus is bigger than anything. Rock, paper, scissors, Jesus.
How that illumination of the cross, the lighting of the cross. They had decisions if the light goes on in your spiritual life to come forward and take this cross that is unlit and you turn the light bulb to on. How many of you guys went forward and did that?
Yeah, the question that was asked was, what is your eureka moment? What is God saying to you? And so for me, I thought it was very poignant that, eureka, you're having this light bulb moment. And so, we went forward and you signifying that. And so, yeah, I went forward.
Okay, I have something a little off topic, not topic, but so me and Cleo were late to coming the last day, and we were trying to find the whole group. We couldn't really find them, and then finally they were like on the other side of the aisle, and everybody was worshiping, and she climbed over the chairs and fell.
I almost like face planted into everyone in front of me.
And she made it over there, but I was stuck over there, and I had like pizza in my hand and everything.
People
And I was
around
just
her
like,
thought she was Pentecostal, so it was okay.
and then everybody was just like, come on, get over here. I was like, I'm not walking on the chairs. So the whole youth group that was behind those chairs, they all lifted up the seats and basically like let me through. It was parted the chairs, I guess you could say. So that was really cool.
Let my pizza go.
Something that I did the last night, and we briefly shared about it on Sunday morning, is that I really believe that where you're at sometimes makes a big difference on what you see and what you perceive and how God can speak to you. And I really believe that last night, we didn't fly all the way literally across the entire country and land in Indianapolis to sit in the back of the sanctuary or this auditorium. And so Ken went like a couple sessions before that, I think, and it was like, I said, just get to the front and just get in fast and get one of the front rows. You want to say?
Those middle schoolers were mean. That's all I have to say. Little girls just pushing you down and standing on you and singing.
It's like, Ken can pull it off.
I'm Canadian. I'm genetically programmed to be nice.
I'm not. No. But, so I went up to the front of the line, and this little youth group was up there, and I said, you guys all in one youth group? And they said, yeah, because we weren't a part of a big youth group, so we didn't get these big sections cordoned off for us. So
and they were from New York, too, so that helped. Right?
Yes, they were from New York.
Yeah.
My kind of people. Anyway, and so I went to the front, and I said, who wants to make $20 tonight? And this girl goes, I do. The littlest one there. It was like, yeah. And so I gave her, I said, I'll give you $20 if you get us at the front of the thing. The youth pastor speaks up and goes, well, we can do, we'll do that. We'll do that. All of us in the youth group. We'll just include you guys in with us. So man, the doors open, the music's playing, and people, you gotta look at what this is like in there. It's like swarms of bees just boom to the front of the thing, and I'm just standing there watching.
There was biting and elbowing.
Yeah, I just walk up there, and you guys don't know, but I just said, we'll find him. Let's just look for a guy in a blue shirt. And I said, I'll give you $20. And youth pastor, he got me a whole section, and we were like third row from the front, and I handed him the $20, and he said, oh, I don't need that. I said, no, you want this. I want to give this to you. This came at a price, and you guys helped us, and I want this. And he said, I'm going to take this, and I'm going to give this 20 to one of the kids in their youth group. It was called in ministry. So it's just how God works. And we got right in the front. And tell me, guys, what was the experience like 3 rows from the front versus 3 rows from the back?
It was really loud.
What was that?
You felt like excluded from everybody, like the whole stage and everything, when we were like in the very last row. And then when we were up front, we were just right there. It was nice.
Good. Tell the story of the last, was it the last night? It's all kind of a blur right now. But when people came forward for salvation and they went and wrote their testimony out and then came back and sat down. Was that the last night? Okay, that was really powerful. I mean, when you turn around and you literally cannot go back to your seat because there are teenagers just lined up down the rows in the aisles to get to a place where they can fill out a card that they have received Christ in their life with a short story of what it meant for them, and then to turn that in. It's powerful. It's amazing. We can't describe isn't it hard to convey what took place there in your own hearts? It's hard to convey it. It's hard to experience the Grand Canyon in a picture. You know what I'm saying? Have you been to the Grand Canyon? Am I right? You cannot, the pictures don't do anything. They don't do justice. When you're there, it's almost feeling like the Grand Canyon could suck you in. It's that lively. This is like what we experience. It's hard to convey, but what we do know is we never want to miss it. That's how powerful it is.
Yeah, and I would say that, to me, it was more of the intensity of the experience. It wasn't so much of, wow, look at how many people are here, or look at how many lights. It was, when you have that many people tuned in saying, God, what do you want to say to me? We're silencing our phones, we're turning our hearts, we're turning our minds to you. And just to have God speak. And I think for me, some of the richest times were when we go back to the hotel room and just kind of talk about, what is God saying? And, some of those times, I think for me, were some of the most meaningful times. So I want to thank you guys again for just being open to what God had to say to you and just being willing to share that.
What would you guys say to youth that are here? Can I have everybody that is in the youth group or 11 years old and up stand up? Would you guys just stand up? All right. Here we go. You guys, you don't want to miss. You don't want to miss follow. Okay? You don't want to miss follow. And would you guys convince them that that's where they need to be 3 years from now? Right? And how about youth camp? Right? Youth camp, right? That's like a mini follow.
That's probably follows 20 times.
Follow with mosquito.
Yes.
Yeah. You guys can sit down now. I just want to encourage the youth that are here to be a part of that. And Ken, what do you think? Anything else? Or we're going to wrap it up?
So I think it was on the third night, they did an offering to give meals to children with bread for the world. What he said. And we raised $46,000 for that at Follow, in one offering in literally 20 minutes. That's how much they raised. It was crazy.
From the teenagers that were there. And the money they brought with them to spend and whatever. Now, Wesleyan Investment Foundation matched everything they gave. So the teenagers gave about $22,000, $23,000 out of their pockets. And then it doubled because of WIF. Tremendous.
One last thing, I'll let you guys have a seat. I said this to you guys when we were there in Indianapolis, but I want to say it in front of everyone else that God has given us everything that we need to do what God has called us to do. I look in each of your faces and I just see incredible potential. And I got to see you guys listening to God and responding to God and stepping out in faith. And that challenged and inspired me. And because I know that God has great plans for each of you, and God has great plans for the youth group, just as God has great plans for this church. And I'm excited about that because you know, as a pastor and I, we've talked, like, we've got everything that we need. You know, and Nicole Reyes, you know, she talked about that. Of if we miss this moment, it's not because God hasn't gifted us or God hasn't given us everything that we need. It's simply because we're not seizing that moment. And so I think, you know, as our sweaters say, you know, we went to follow, but we're leaving to lead. And so, you know, I would challenge each of you that follow continues. What you've learned, let's put that into practice and let's change our world.
Why don't we do this as we wind this down, is you guys stay up here, and let's have Ken and Robin come up here, and maybe we can surround them and welcome them with prayer. Would that be okay, guys? Come on up.